Good morning, I'm Chef Stacy. I'm the Director of Culinary Services here at Lakeside. And this morning we're coming to you live right here from the historic Hotel Lakeside Dining Room. This morning I'm going to be cooking for you one of my favorite little dishes. It's about cooking fish and using parchment paper. You might be one of those people that's a little bit hesitant about how to cook fish because maybe sometimes it turns out a little more dry than you would like. Well, this is the perfect solution for you. Using paper when you're cooking fish or other little delicate proteins like chicken and vegetables ensures that you're always going to have something that is tender and moist and very, very flavorful. So if you would like to cook fish, but maybe you just don't have a lot of confidence, stick with us for the next few minutes. I'm going to show you how you can do that. Again, using one of my favorite techniques. It's a French technique called in papillote, which means in paper. So you can use different types of paper. Only thing that I would stay away from is anything that has a printing on it or anything that has a coating on it like wax paper. So the perfect papers for this are going to be parchment paper, which is traditionally what is used. But you could also use one of my other little favorites, which is just a traditional lunch bag. You can use the white ones or the brown ones. They work perfectly. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So all you really need to do is find some fish that you'd like to cook. Today I have 3 6-ounce fillets of salmon. This is a center cut of the fillet, so that's all about the same thickness. That's one thing you're going to want to make sure happens. And then I also have some shrimp and some mussels in here too. We're going to combine that here in a few minutes. And to make this happen, all you need to do is make a pouch using parchment. So traditionally how that's done is by cutting or folding a piece of parchment first. I've got one here, it's about 20 inches long, cutting it, or excuse me, folding it in half, making a nice crease, and then cutting a heart shape. But you don't even have to do that. You simply can just take a piece of parchment, again, that's about 20 inches long, fold it in half, and you can do the exact same thing making a pouch like this. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's about making something that will seal when you crimp it really, really well so that it holds in the moisture and creates a little steam packet. And so you're actually steaming the fish. That's why it's always moist and wonderful and flavorful. So to do this today, I'm going to show you like a very traditional way first. And again, that's going to be using the parchment paper. I've cut it into the traditional heart shape, and then all I'm going to simply do is start building my packet. So let me go grab some of my ingredients, and we're going to do this 3 ways. So we're going to start with the most traditional, most French way of doing this, the papillote style, by taking one piece of parchment again, folding it in half, cutting it into this heart shape like we've said, got it laid down here, and now I'm going to start building my little packet. I'm going to build on one side of that heart, leaving the other side to fold it over. So I'm going to take one of my 6-ounce fillets, lay it down here. Well, actually, you know what I'll do first? I forgot what I was going to do. I want to use my asparagus. I'm going to put my asparagus underneath here. And I'm just going to build something that's about the same size footprint as the salmon that I'm cooking with. So I've got just some nice fresh asparagus. Now that I'm going to lay down my salmon on top of that. I've got some other really traditional ingredients that you're going to find. I made a compound butter. You might wonder what that is. A compound butter is just a butter that we've added all sorts of wonderful aromatics and different seasonings into. So the compound butter I made up this morning was really, really simple. I put it in my food processor. Maybe it took 60 seconds. Put in some shallots, put in some parsley, a little bit of dill, a little bit of salt, a little bit of white pepper. And that's it. And you just cut this into little pieces. I'll lay that down on top of there. One thing about cooking this way is, again, it's going to be very, very flavorful, but it's going to determine on what you put in here. That's going to be the flavor. So make sure that you find things that are super, super fresh and really flavorful to work with. I've got some wonderful leeks here. Leeks are coming out of the gardens right now here in Ohio, so it's a perfect time to cook with leeks. I'm going to pile those high on top. I've got a little bit of white wine. Again, we're trying to create some steam. So a little bit of moisture added into your packet is fantastic. I've got a little bit, I could do this several different ways. I've got a little bit of lemon. I can squeeze the lemon on for some lemon juice. I could also build it with lemon squares. I'm just going to squeeze it. I've already got my lemons already juiced here, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of lemon juice on top. Okay. Something that's great with a little bit of a kick, like a caper that's been put in a brine, is also super traditional and has a lot of flavor. So I'm going to put that in there. Now, all we need to do is seal this little bugger right up. So we fold them on over, starting at the top, give it a nice turn, run that thumb down along the edge there each time, just to really ensure that you're getting a nice crimped edge. I'm going to follow this all the way around your packet. Traditionally, like back in the day, we don't do it anymore, but they used to take egg whites. They would take egg whites, they would kind of just mix them up a little bit, put them on a brush, and then put it inside the parchment paper. That would ensure that it really, when it was baked off, would form a really tight seal. Again, so you got that steam, which is crucial when you're baking in papillote, in paper. And again, that's all that really needs, is just end paper. So we've got our first packet done. Now that didn't take too long, did it? So this is our first preparation, extremely traditional. Asparagus, lemon, white wine, capers, dill, garlic, butter, all the yumminess in this little packet. We're gonna go on to our second one now. Okay, we're back. We're gonna do our second preparation already. This one's gonna be a little, I shouldn't say little, totally different from the French traditional. This is gonna be something that has a little bit of an Oriental or Asian kind of feel to it. We've got some sesame oil that we're gonna be using, some teriyaki, some snow peas, a little bit of broccoli, some carrots. Again, this time I'm not even gonna cut that heart shape out, just so you can see that that's really not necessary. I'm gonna go ahead and use some salmon again. This time I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of my sesame oil. And you'll notice that my fillets, and you'll notice that how my fillets are skinless that I'm working with, and that's a preference. You could use something with the skin on, but I actually really don't care for the taste and the oil that the skin leaves behind. I'm gonna put my broccoli underneath. You don't have to. I'm just gonna try something a little different. I've cut these into little cross sections too, so that's gonna go on top of there. All right. We've got some snow peas. Put on top there for some contrast again. Carrots. You can see how simple this is, and really depends on what your favorite little elements are or things that you have on hand. I've got some garlic in here. I can smell the sesame. Put a little bit of salt. There we go. And then I have a little bit of one of my favorite teriyaki sauces. This is a nice thick glaze. Put that in there. It smells wonderful. There we go. Now, this time, again, I don't have that cut into a heart shape. I did that intentionally just so you can see that though it does make it easier, it's really not necessary. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp this back first just so I have something that's easier to work with. And I'm gonna do that same process that I did before, just kind of crimping it all the way around the edge. It's about making sure that you get a packet that's nice and sealed well. There we go. Got the first one done. Now I got the second one finished up. There we go. We'll slay him over there with that. When we get the third one down here in a couple minutes, I'm going to take him into the oven. I'm going to bake him up at 350 for about 20 minutes. I'll be right back with the third one. Okay, so we're back. This time, as I promised, we're going to use something a little bit different than parchment paper, something totally untraditional. We're going to use just a simple lunch bag. They do come in different sizes. Just find one that fits the size of the proteins and things, vegetables that you're baking up. There you go. I'm just gonna build this right inside now. So this time I'm gonna go ahead and use something a little bit different, some things I have from my garden and things I just kind of already had in my pantry. So I've got some yellow squash, I've got some tomatoes, a red skin potato, some garlic, a little bit of white wine again, some olive oil. I have pesto that I had in the fridge. I think this will be a great way to kind of top this all off. So I'm gonna go ahead this time. I'm gonna put my potatoes in the bottom of the bag. And you'll have to trust me that I'm laying them in here because you won't be able to see, but I'm making a single layer inside there. There you go. I'm gonna go ahead and spread on some pesto right on top of this filet before I put it in the bag. There we go. Being pretty generous with it. That's gonna melt right into the fish, right into those potatoes. I'm gonna lay it right on top of the potatoes. Then I've got some yellow squash and put him in there. Again, I'm just building that right on top. Tomatoes. Tomatoes and pesto are fantastic together. There we go. You can see how easy this all comes together. Got some of that. These are actually some shallots that I have. Put those in there. If I wanted, I could add a little bit of white wine. I think I've got enough. The pesto on there pretty heavy, so I think I have enough there for flavor. Now that I also have some shrimp, I'm just going to throw those in the bag. And a few mussels. I'm gonna get my bag all built. Again, I'm trying really hard to keep everything on top of those potatoes and on top of that salmon. Now I'm gonna just take it, get a piece of baker's twine. There we go. And just tie this shut. Just be real careful as you carry it off to the oven to make sure everything stays level in there so that you have that nice build on top of your salmon. And again, I'm going to take these 3 pouches that we've created. You saw how quick and easy that is. We're going to put all 3 of these in the oven for about 20 minutes at 350. If you have a convection oven, I would shorten that cooking time. Here in the kitchen, it might take me about 12 to 15 minutes. So we'll be right back with those beautiful fish dishes. Okay, so we're back. So 20 minutes at 350 in the oven, at a convection oven, a little bit less, as I said, and you can see I've gone ahead and opened up one of these beautiful packages, little packets of Parchment. This is the salmon that had our leeks. It has some of the asparagus, some capers, wonderful, wonderful flavor. If you're a little bit uneasy about knowing if your salmon is done, maybe you have a really, really big piece in there, or maybe you've got a lot in your bag, like we did with the shrimp and the mussels, you can always use a little thermometer. Just give itself a little poke inside what you would believe would be the thickest part of the salmon. Give it a check. This one looks perfect, so I'm good to go. Go ahead and just take this off. Part of the fun of serving in Parchment like this is how the little bag puffs up. And it's kind of fun to take it right to the table and serve it to your friends or your family just like this. Then they can open it up right at the table, and it's kind of like a little surprise to see what's going to be inside. Let me put my scissors back together here. You can either use a knife like this, or, and the sooner you serve it, the easier it is to get into it. It's like a little package. It's like a little surprise each time you get in here. So this was the one that we did that had kind of the Asian influence with the salmon. Look at those beautiful colors in there. Isn't that beautiful? Then we had this one over here that we did. This was a little bit more fun. This has our shrimp and also our mussels in here. I've got a rectangular plate. I'm going to serve this on just because the shape I think will be nice on here. Complements it pretty well. One nice thing about this is if you are still a little hesitant and not really willing to find some salmon while you're on vacation or at home, you can always come to the Hotel Lakeside Dining Room. We're going to be adding a salmon and papillote to our menu starting this weekend on August 1st. So if you still want to just come on in and let us make it for you, we'd be happy to. Here we go. This one has our beautiful shrimp. It has our mussels. Oh, look at that in there. Flaky, perfect every time. So the best part of cooking it like this, you'll always have it flaky, you'll always have it tender, you're gonna have it so flavorful and moist, and you never, ever, ever go wrong when you're cooking fish in Parchment like this. Give it a try, and again, if you'd rather just come in and let me cook it for you, I'd be happy to. Come on into the Hotel Lakeside Dining Room. We're open every weekend, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We serve lunch from 11 to 2 on Fridays and Saturdays, and dinner from 5 to 8. You can check us out on Sundays for brunch from 11 to 4, and of course, we have our new wonderful afternoon tea. Again, that's on Fridays and Saturdays. That's by reservation only. You can give us a call here in the hotel for that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll give us a try at home. This is a foolproof way to make sure that you can cook fish perfectly every time.